Sometimes I end up places that I never thought I'd be. Maybe never had any intention of going at all. Well, I'm Sam Dean, and this is Hanoi, Vietnam. Hanoi, Vietnam. You know, that place that we dropped thousands of bombs on, unleashing hellfire just a tick over 40 years ago. It's a place I've never been, and never been compelled to travel aside from my obligatory and quite necessary entry stamp into Thailand that I need every 90 days. Sort of. I didn't need one this time. I've been out of the country more recently, but my wife and my daughter have not been. From here on out, instead of calling them my wife and daughter, I'm just going to refer to them as the fam. So now that you know that this plus this equals the fam. In addition to the fam, I also met up with Kyle. Kyle is Doug's brother. He was there for a similar reason to the fam and I. And flying to Hanoi from Bangkok is very inexpensive in almost every possible way. In addition to it being a great place to pinch pennies or dong, the weather is quite pleasant as well. The entire time we were there, it never got above 75 degrees and never got below 60. That's in Fahrenheit. Ends up being about 24 Celsius to 15 Celsius, respectively. Bangkok is much, much hotter. It's pretty easy to assume that this video is going to talk about Vietnamese food. For example, egg coffee, spring rolls, or pho. Yes. Yes, I pronounce it pho. Please listen to Kyle Kinane's bit about pho. You'll get a pretty good idea of where my head's at with the entire pho thing. There's a link below in what John Green would undeniably call the doobly-doo. If you want a food video, you can stop watching this one after this part. The food was quite delicious, and I mean no disrespect towards Vietnamese food. There's just thousands of videos and channels dedicated to showing us how delicious Vietnamese food is. Once again, links in the doobly-doo. All that I must say is that home, New Day, and the Green Tangerine will certainly not disappoint. All of them were fantastic. In a mere week, I have not even scratched the surface of depth and array that Vietnam has to offer the culinary world. People are people. Some good, some bad, most in between. Vietnam is no exception. They are, however, a different breed entirely. I expected more cultural parallels to Thailand or Cambodia. I was wrong in both assumptions. The Vietnamese that we encountered are very kind and very polite, with a hard driving work ethic. Very few beggars, very many peddlers. Everyone has something to do. No one ever seemed to be sitting around unless it was quite intentionally at a cafe sipping coffee or tea, taking a swan boat ride for a spin, playing badminton, or playing card and chip games on the sidewalks. Sidewalks that almost seemed intended for more leisure than function. Most of the sidewalks that did exist were more for parking your motorbike or leisurely playing cards. Walking was mostly done in the streets, sidewalk or not. The layout of Hanoi is scrambled at best, with lakes and rivers strewn about. The buildings are all quite crammed in next to each other with little more than a sheet of paper dividing the properties. Classic and contemporary seem to have made friends here all throughout the city. Classic French balconies, beautifully sharing the same view as the boxy, straight as a razor lines of a modern home. The only shared quality between them seems to be the width of each house, or lack thereof for that matter. Behind me is what I'm talking about. It is a 4-story building that might be the width of a 1-car American garage. And they just decided, you know what, this seems like a perfectly alright place for a building. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's just very strange, and I just don't think I've seen that anywhere else in the world. As one might expect, I rented a motorbike in Hanoi. It seems highly inefficient to get around Hanoi in any other fashion than by 2 wheels, with or without the engine. I ride almost daily in Bangkok. To say that Bangkok is an aggressive city to ride a motorbike in would be a terrible understatement. It's an unforgiving dog-eat-dog sort of place. Your head better be on a swivel and your reflexes primed for anything and anyone that might be willing to end you on one lapse of focus. Hanoi could not be more polarized. The chaos and magnitude of how many bikes are on the road is still very real and absolutely breathtaking. The Vietnamese, however, are courteous, patient, and dramatically less urgent riders. I frequently found myself at the front of the pack without trying to get there or thinking that my underwhelmingly slow Honda lead could lurch me ahead of the other riders. Hell, I don't think I broke 50 kilometers an hour once. The beauty came out in the swarm, like a school of fish splitting in two, contorting itself in order to avoid any obstacle or prey. Everyone is aware of everyone else as they lackadaisically flow through the streets, occasionally checking a text message or whatever else their smartphone might be drawing their attention to. Hanoi has changed my mind. It has changed my misconceptions, and it has changed it all with being unapologetically Vietnamese. It's not trying to be Seoul. It's not trying to be Tokyo or Bangkok. Just Hanoi. It's green and lush. It's busy and productive. It's hammer and sickle.
One thing talking to a camera is really good at in any language is weirding people out. But currently I'm more distracted by the dog that looks like he's about to make a suicide attempt or whatever he might be doing. There's a little like miniature Doberman or something who looks as though he's had his last day. I don't know, he's about two, 3 stories up, just sitting, looking out the window. If it was a cat, I wouldn't think anything of it, but god damn it, dogs. Yeah.